Hi, guys, and welcome to Trucking Along with Kiersey. That's me, your positive voice in trucking. So go ahead and comment and let me know you hear me. And I'm just going to keep talking until you pop in. Oh, yeah, no makeup today. Sorry, guys. But I, I- I've been a little, I'm going to talk about the cameras right now. I have been a little bit vocal, let's say vocal. Shocker for any of you that know me, right? Um, so I've been vocal. Hey, wombats, how you doing? Can you hear me okay? So I'm on the truck. I'm out on the road. Things are noisy behind me. This reefer is blaring behind me. So but I am getting one of these cameras in the truck, and it's not because I'm a company driver. It's because I've been pretty outspoken about these cameras, and I'm going to be honest with you. Oh, cool. Okay. Hey, Leah, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in. Um, And I hope you guys liked that live that I did with Freight Skater. That was really cool, and I was able to split that up. I actually want to see if he and I could get together like maybe once a month or once every other month or something, because I really enjoy getting that feedback with him and, you know, laughing. It's nice. It's nice. Slim Shady, good to see you. So I you hope my experience is a good one. Well, thank you, and hello, loser. How are you today? Um, Finally, informed information. Well, this is what's going to happen, okay? Because, like I said, I have been vocal that I have not been happy with these cameras. I have a couple of my former students have the cameras in the trucks, and they are telling me different information between how their cameras work. I personally, although I love Prime, and you guys all know that, I think Prime did a very poor job. Let's put it that way. They did a very poor job of trying to disseminate this information. Um, and I feel like there are a couple ways they could have played this. They could have pitched this out to TNT team trainers and said, hey, we want to put that in the training trucks. You know, we know it's really hard for you guys to sleep in the moving trucks. And because when you're a trainer and you have a new driver sitting in the front seat, it's almost like being a brand new parent and you got that little baby, like that infant, a couple weeks old, and you're just not sleeping. That's what it's like. Like you hear every little thing. You know, you're afraid that you're going to fall too deep into a sleep and then you're not going to be hearing them if they need you. So, I think that they could have played it that way. And since we have a big chunk of drivers that are trainers, I think it could have gone over better. I also think that, and I've always said this, crime's number one problem is communication. I think that they would have been better off instead of giving us a sales pitch video, had they made a video that showed the inside of the cab. It showed the camera lights on, if it showed somebody taking the seatbelt off and recording like the different audio cues. So I got a call from the head of the safety department, and we had a really long conversation. I mean, about an hour and 45 minutes, no lie. Okay. Because I personally, you know, am struggling to understand some of the little features that they say, because to me, it seems like one day they say something like it has this feature, and then the next day they use different wording. So it seems like um, it's not consistent. And I was telling him, I was like, I don't know if it's the wording you're using. I don't know. Some of you know that I've actually written and published books. So sometimes what happens when you write a book, okay, when you go back to try to edit it and proofread it, your mind knows what's supposed to be there. So it's harder for you to see it. And I have a funny feeling that it's something like that going on where they know all this stuff about the cameras and they think they're projecting that information properly. And personally, I don't think they are. So I talked to the head of safety department. I am coming in to get the cameras. I'm being routed into Springfield this week. I have been told that I am permitted to put cameras up inside the truck so that I can actually record, the camera. I can record the audio. So, this thing is supposed to like give messages. And Leah says, I'm looking for your hearing your experience with this. Plus, you're going to give Prime real feedback on performance of product. There you go, right there. Right there. Okay? Because that's one thing that anybody that knows me, I have a big mouth, right? And I think that there were some issues that they sort of saw it as people jumping on the bandwagon, but I don't think they actually realized, no, like somebody in management said to me something like, well, it's jumping on the bandwagon. It's sort of like this, you know, I don't want to say mob or gang mentality, but you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, people are just like joining together. And I was like, you know what? If you know me at all, then you know I'm a leader, not a follower. So guess what? I'm going to do what I think should have been done. And I said, so I want permission to put cameras inside the truck. I'm going to back up with the seatbelt off. I'm going to turn with the seatbelt off, like backing into docks and stuff like that. I'm going to sit there and time the miles per hour to try to see like when it's going to ding and that kind of thing. I'm going to be able to make commentary while it's going. But something that's really interesting is that people pretty much told me because they didn't know what was going to ding them, that it took them a week or so to get adjusted to what it was going to call. And now they, if you want to say they're driving better and they're not getting dinged as much, you can put it that way. I personally think after talking to a couple people, it's not so much that they're driving better, it's that they know what the camera is looking for now, if that makes sense. Um, so like one situation was when you're coming up on a stop sign, okay? You don't necessarily have to stop before the stop sign, but somehow there's a timer on it and it will count. And if you don't come to a full stop within so many seconds, then it's going to send that to your fleet manager. However, it doesn't actually tell you, okay, your timer's starting now. Somebody else told me that it's not telling them, like, I was under the impression this is going to say, this is distracted driving, like put your cell phone down or something like that. But apparently you're supposed to know that, say you got your cell phone in your hand. It's not actually saying, hey, put your cell phone down. It's just counting seconds. And then if you don't put the cell phone down within so many seconds, then it's recording. So this is the feedback I'm getting from people that are in the have the trucks with the cameras. And I don't know if it's an issue where the camera's not working properly or they're not understanding how the camera's working. I don't know. That's why I decided that I'm willing to go figure this out myself. And I told the head of safety I wanted to do a video about it, and he was like, "Okay, cool." And I told him, "I'm going to give you feedback, good, bad, ugly, whatever, and it's going to be honest." And he said, "All right, great. That's what I need." And I said, "You're cool with that?" He said, "Absolutely." And you know, you guys know me. You know that I can be vocal and I get called. I did that video about like drinking the Kool-Aid and people tell me that all the time, but um I really think that in addition to bringing cameras that were already kind of unpopular, they chose a bad time to do it. With the freight the way it is, this is not necessarily a good time to do it. Um, let's see. I saw Leah. What if you're wearing sunglasses? How would it track your eyes? You know what? I don't know yet, but I'm going to try it. I wear contacts, but I do have prescription sunglasses, so I'll try it and see what happens. Mr. Not Nice says, my thing is, if I'm getting a camera, what's the point of me being a lease driver? I lost every other privilege, so what's the point? Yeah, I get that. Honest to God, I never seen the point of going lease. And despite what people say, our pays are not that far apart. And when I show pay stubs of mine, it's not necessarily genuine because of the fact that I make a lot more than somebody that's coming in, and that's without my referral bonuses. I'm not lying. I get referral bonuses and they're pretty good. But, you know, being somebody that's been here for 8 years, if you really think that I only make 50 cents a mile, you're sadly mistaken. And so D says, I don't have an issue with being recorded. I have an issue with the AI. Yeah, I'm not happy with the AI. And in all honesty, I really wasn't happy with the outward camera. Like everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that's good. That's good." I didn't want that. I didn't want that. And you know, and one of the main things of why I wasn't too crazy about that was, Swift had these cameras years ago when I first started. Um, They had inwards, it wasn't the AI, but they also had the outwards, and I don't know if they still do, so comment down below and let me know if they still do. But, one issue that I have a concern with is U-turns. Like, are they gonna fire us for making a U-turn? Because that's what some of these other companies were doing, and when Dennis, the safety director, says that we've never been a punitive company, that's the honest to God truth. Okay. We do have critical events like a lot of companies do, where, like, if you're speeding downhill or you go around the curve too fast or, the forward collision, there's a few different ones that they have. Um, I don't get them. I don't get them because I'm a safer driver to begin with. So, I'm kind of wondering if this is going to be the same thing. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to adjust to the stop signs. One piece of information that I got was one of my students was driving along the road and there was like a farm with a barn over on the, like, in a field. Well, the camera angle goes out like this. So when it did over to the right, it picked up a, a octagonal sign that was on the side of the barn, and it picked that up and it said it was a stop sign that he ran. So Prime, it gets sent back to Prime, to the fleet manager, and then they can actually put in their system, that wasn't deserved. He did okay. And so I'm really gonna go in there with an open mind and see what happens. And I really am interested in seeing, they said that the phone app can't be screen recorded, it can't be screenshot. So it's not like I can sit here and take a picture of myself and then send it off to people and things like that. A lot of us were worried about the security issue. One thing that's on my mind, and you can think this is conspiratorial, but I have a subscriber that put this in my head. Like, is this eventually going to be used against us on our DAC reports? Like, all these companies that are getting this, are they going to share these little things? Like, you have an accident. Oh, is it getting attached to your deck eventually? And then it'll get shared with whatever, employer. And, you know, that might help and it might hurt. Um, Sometimes I've heard of people going to other companies where, uh, something's on a bad on the DAC report, and the next company was like, "Oh, what are they crazy? Like, that shouldn't have been on the report. Like, what's the big deal?" You know. So they will be watching you all the time. Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. There is so much confusion the way they've discussed this about the inward camera. Um, I'm listening to it, and it's like, in one section, it seems like they're saying the key has to be on. In another section, it seems like the camera will stay on for 3 minutes after. it's turned off. Then it seems like if you're idling, it will turn off after so many minutes. That's why I can't even follow everything they're saying. And I'm extremely analytical. I was going to sit here and take all like the videos that they discussed it and edit it together so that they could see where it appears as though they contradicted themselves. And I think a couple times, like, here's an example. In the one meeting, Brienne, who's the head of the IT department, and I trust her. She's a good person. She's a really good person. I really like her. Um, but I think they're saying this stuff over and over so much, and I think that they know what they're talking about, but it's not being conveyed properly. So in the one live feed, she said that the seat belt, if you're going in reverse, it's not going to give you a seat belt violation. Okay. But then she also said if you're going 15 miles per hour or less in yard moves, which Prime does have yard moves activated, some other companies don't. But she said 15 miles per hour or less, it's not going to give you a seatbelt violation. Then in another video, she said 20 miles per hour or less, which is the yard move speed limit. But I don't think that they realize that because we have no idea what these are, I don't think they realize that even that little bit of a change in the way they said it makes a difference to us. Because it's like if that's being contradicted and each day or whatever, each video, then we're not going to trust anything else. You're telling me there's no audio, but you know, one day you said 15 miles per hour, another day you said 20 miles per hour. Now, something that is going on though, that if this is why it might be different between the two videos that they're talking about, they are taking driver feedback. So in the one chat, when they said 15 miles per hour, okay, somebody said in the chat, while a bunch of people were saying in the chat, well, yard moves is 20. It's very possible that they then turned it to 20. And if they changed it, because this is very customizable and they flat out say they're going to keep changing this over time. If they actually came out and said, hey, we saw that you guys mentioned yard moves at 20 miles per hour, so we changed it. Okay, if they came out with that as an explanation, then not only would it seem like they're actually listening to us, so we're giving feedback and we're not so disconnected, we got some input in here, but it would also seem like they're being more consistent and communicating better. That's just my personal belief. Of course, I communicate a lot, don't I, guys? Okay, I got called once because I went over hours and didn't realize it. How did you not realize it? Because ours goes ding and it yells at me and says, Kirsten Rothlander, you are about to violate blah, blah, blah. But that is something else. We are getting a Geo tab that's going to replace our Qualcomm. And so one issue I've heard about this is although it's fabulous and it starts up right away and stuff, there's a problem editing the on duty. And I kept asking two different people, like, what do you mean you can't edit the on duty time? And apparently, whatever steps you have to take to do it is much more cumbersome than just edit, hit. So that's going to be interesting. I'm probably going to do a whole separate video just on the tablet, just so you can see what that looks like. I always stop after a stop sign and it never gets me. I even roll through stop signs and it's never dinged. Well, that's good to know. Trucking went to beep. Okay. I try not to use profanity on here, but I think a big part of trucking going to beep has to do with unrealistic expectations. I'm going to be doing a video sometime this week or so with all of the different things that students said. And they have unrealistic expectations. And here's an example. I took a student to the parts department one time to get washer fluid and antifreeze, coolant, right? Well, after we got it, she's holding the one bottle and she's like, okay, where do we take it to have it installed? And I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, who puts it in? Well, you do. She couldn't even believe that. It was so far from the realm of her possibility. And I had another student that came on, looked around the truck and said, oh my God, where's the bathroom in the kitchen? I saw on YouTube that that's what, they're supposed to have, so I was going to do a funny video all about, you know, the cameras don't track your eyes. Well, you know what? We're being told that these do, JT. Because what it's doing is, so here's one thing that one of my former students told me was it tracks your eyes to see where you're looking. And apparently where our tire pressure monitor is, it's too far down. So if you look at the tire pressure monitor, it's dinging you. And it seems to me the people that I know that are doing this are more new. So, you know, like I said, they're giving me these scores of 900 and 950. And if you listen to the safety director, he said he was shooting for 800 to 850 on that gamification. And it's going to rank us all as drivers. So, you know, I know one of those drivers and he's a really bad driver. No lie. And he sent me his screenshot of his scores and he's at like 950. And I was like, well, holy crap. I was like, if I score below him, I'm going to be really upset. Yeah, Swift and Walmart got rid of their inward facing cameras. I was oh, okay, you've never been dinged for a U-turn? Well, our cameras will. Are you using a prime camera? Because that's hard for me to believe. And U-turn was something that I was really upset about. I was really concerned about that because there are times that we need to make a U-turn. There are sometimes you're in the middle of nowhere. There are sometimes that, if you make a wrong turn, you can't find any place for 20 or 50 miles, and then you'd have to turn around. I went someplace where there was a detour, and I'm following the detour signs down, and then all of a sudden they were gone. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then later, when I told the customer the detour signs were gone, he said, yeah, the homeless people take them down and use them for firewood. Well, that doesn't help. Um, One time I was in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and I'm on a truck route, and it's truck route, truck route, truck route, and all of a sudden, truck route ends. Well, what am I supposed to do? Pick the truck up and like teleport it somewhere? Beam me up, Scotty? Hello, good luck with that? So I did call the cops on myself that time, and I was really new. But I tried to explain. We get into so much stuff that they can't even possibly imagine that you know, we're going to see things that signs aren't there. We're going to see things that signs might only be there one way and not the other. That just happened to me in Florida not that long ago. I was looking for the on ramp and there was no sign. And it looked like one of those little frontage roads. It looked too small to be the ramp. And then before you know it, I already passed it. And it's kind of like, well, what am I supposed to do? Um, they haven't been, but it's not hard to take that step to become punitive company. That's true. Okay. So Prime hasn't been firing people for the critical events and things like that. And I once saw like how many critical events like people had, and I didn't see any names or anything, but it was like a couple columns of like, okay, this person got so many critical events in 6 months and they got so many logs violations. And I'm sitting here going, what the heck are these people doing? Fire them. Like people ask me, oh, would you be a fleet manager? No, because I wouldn't have a fleet because I'd be fired. Like, hello. But yeah, Leah said that Swift and Walmart got rid of their facing cameras. Now, I knew a Swift driver who had the camera in his truck, and at night he used to just put like a shirt or something on top of it. These are going to be on our windshield. Now, the ones I saw at Swift were actually on the dash, so they were inside the curtains that they had. This is on the windshield, so we have the curtains that go around inside the windshields. So I don't understand why so many people are so upset about that. It's not like the camera's gonna see through, you know, that thing. And somebody did say that they were upset because their dog could get through the window. And I'm not saying that's not a concern, but I'm saying that there's a way to get around it. Then, at night, tape something up, pin something up. We can figure out all kinds of ways to store stuff on these trucks. We can figure out how to cover up the camera at night so that nobody sees us naked. But the truth of the matter is, you want to see me naked? Go for it. Seriously. They'll probably die of a heart attack, and that's fine with me. uh, Life for my fleet lost its PC privilege, so legit have to call or send message just to gain access to it. Plus, every other week you should train. I just don't see the benefit for me. Oh yeah, they're trying to push the training. Yeah, I don't think that I had PC. They took my PC like a year and a half ago or something when I was on the company fleet, on the company truck, and then I went to a lease, a mini fleet, and I had PC on that truck. Lost it again when I went back to the company truck. I had hurt my neck and shoulder, so I went off the road and went back to the backing pad. And now I'm on a mini fleet again, and I don't have PC on this truck. But what's really weird is other people on the fleet and even the fleet owners that are on my fleet, they have the PC. So I don't know why they did it to this truck, but honestly, I don't care because like I've been here almost 9 years. I can manage my clock and do 8-2 splits all over the place. So I always have hours. Like I don't ever need to use PC. Mm, Let me see. When they say better CSA scores, we will gain freight. My reply, what about the contracts that gets bidded on yearly that we lose when another customer undercuts us? This is true. Absolutely. But see, this is something there's so much that goes into the contract bidding. It's not just about, oh, let's underbid. And the reason I know that is that the bids also and the customers, they take into consideration the safety. They also take into consideration our truck availability. So when COVID was like, we had the freight through the roof, we were running 14,000 loads a week and we were rejecting 14,000 loads a week. We had double the capacity. So during that time, when people start making more money, you know what they did? Instead of running really hard and banking all that money, like some of the YouTubers that are going up posting videos lately, what they did was they start taking time off. And as they took time off, our truck availability went down. So the following year, when they went to renegotiate rates, guess what happened? Customers said, well, we can't rely on you because you don't have enough trucks available. So there's a lot that goes into bids. It's not just about undercutting. Um, I want to say it was like my second or third year. We had an account and we were undercut. And then that particular company was late so often that we got the account back. So, that's pretty much all I know about that sales type of thing. Um, they also say it's documented when anyone reviews the videos. Yes. So what they're saying is your fleet manager has the right to go in, Safety has the right to go in and IT has the right to go in. And anytime that anybody goes in, it's going to be documented who went in and looked at it and for how long and what for. What was the reason that they were looking at it? So I also want to get better clarification about the blur because I have to go back and listen to it again. Um, I'm going to sit down with a pen and paper because, I'm like that. And I'm going to sit there and I'm just going to try to figure out what did they mean? Because at one point it sounded like she said, well, if the truck is stopped, then it's not recording. And if somebody came up to the window and was talking to you or something and you needed that recording, it's not going to help because the truck is stopped. And then, like, even at a traffic light or something, right? But then I thought she said if the truck is parked and stopped, then the video is blacked out. So I'm going to really go back and I'm going to analyze all of these different things. And I'm going to have a list of questions that I'm going to go into on Wednesday and, get some answers. And then I'm going to do this. Why would you incriminate yourself? There is another driver recently on Mother Trucker's channel. She got screwed bad, awarded and suspended in one day. Dinged her for stuff because a car cut her off. Well, Crooked Dog Ranch, was that a prime driver? I'd like to know that because, like we said, they're not talking about punitive, but the truth is, once they put certain people on the videos and stuff and those live feeds, that's going to be really hard to justify terminating somebody when you just basically admitted that you didn't that you didn't terminate people for other things. So let me see. I gotta go back and scroll back up. Uh, Easton Me used to be locked down for us. Now barely 4 trailers. One up to compare to the 30. I have no idea what you're talking about. Leah says I'm really concerned about the aspect also. Okay. Honestly, I don't even notice these cameras anymore. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen for experienced drivers. Because look at the lane sensors. The lane sensors, they're a total waste. Honest to God, it's like white noise. I don't even hear them anymore. And most drivers, you're going along, you're going through construction, it's going zzz, zzz, zzz. You just turn it off constantly. Even when I was teaming, when you're teaming, you turn it off because you don't want the person hearing it and waking up. When I was brand new, I thought it was horrible. I was like, oh my God. It made me so nervous every time it went off. And my trainer was like, don't worry about it. We hear it all the time. And now I'm like, I don't even hear it most of the time. So it's not helpful, and yet they're putting them in cars now. So cameras destroy your Fifth Amendment, your Fourth Amendment rights. Well, you know what? That is true, but honestly, it's the way of the world. Okay? You can be in a convenience store and their camera will this is true story. They did this in New Jersey, okay? Convenience store, the guys inside, there was facial recognition in the convenience store camera. There was a warrant out for his arrest. The camera actually went and called 911 and called the police and had him arrested. And he had already left, and the camera outside picked up the car and zeroed in the license plate and everything. So they were able to find him, arrest him. Electronics will do what they want to you. Just wait until you screaming at your windshield or the faux argument with your lawyers, etc. People that accept this will be another leash. You know what? I'm not going to be trucking forever. Okay. I'm going to be 50 years old and I'm not planning on being in this truck. So they're saying that it could take a year to even 2 years, 22 months. Okay. You know what the average length of stay is at Prime? 3 years. Gee, interesting that that's the same length as the lease, right? But so the average length of time is 3 years. So by the time they even put the cameras in fully into the trucks, a lot of the people that are here that are upset about wouldn't be here organically, naturally anyway. Um, I think that people that are new are going to come in and they're not going to know anything different. Oh yeah, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, please, please. Nah. Tolga, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in. Love Tolga. Tolga is like always, always awake. I don't know how he does that. All right. DJ, you're so sweet. For those of you who don't know, DJ is one of my students, my former students, and became a good friend. And he has a camera. So he's given me some information about that. Romaine the trucker, if you guys haven't subscribed to him, go check him out. Hopefully, the new tablet doesn't throw the book at us for hours of service. It does not seem um to do that, not from what I've heard, but we're gonna see what happens. I mean, um Romaine says the camera can say your name. No, the Qualcomm. So what would happen is like it'll say because I mean, have you ever gotten down to your last hour? Well, it will say like you have 1 hour left, blah, blah, blah. Well, when you keep going and you actually violate, a red triangle pops up and it'll say your name. You are in violation. Like, okay, thanks. But unfortunately, I'm in violation because I didn't have a choice. My dear, are you still married to Elite Fleet? um, Aline and I are still good friends and we still talk on occasion and everything. No hippie wants to know, did Romaine ever put down any miles today? Because Lord knows he's been texting all day, but my guess is that this is when he's supposed to be sleeping. Uh-huh. I thought he was driving nights. So you know, and this is why we need cameras on trucks because students are too much on YouTube and comments and live feeds. So they're not sleeping when they should be. What you take in automation and when you think it will fully take over the industry, you know what? I really believe that it's going to take a long time. I'm going to be out, you know. And the reason like I've been hearing from the post office. Yes, we're still on the camera subject. Sorry, Del Rey, but it's a big deal here and people are not happy about it. So I'm going to get a camera and I'm going to do some videos so that everybody can calm down and see what we're talking about. And then at least people can make an informed decision rather than just listening to gossip, rather than just listening to confusing statements from safety. They can actually see it. I'll actually explain it. I'll show it part by part, and if Prime wants to take my video and go put it on their phone app for people, they can do that. That's fine with me. I don't care. But my whole point is, let's actually like see what this is rather than everybody just overreacting. Yes, it does rank you. That part is true. Yes, I've seen that. Taco truck lover says start over. Nope, not doing that. Sorry, Clayton, you should have came in earlier. Uh, oh, come on. Sorry, guys. I just lost this scroll. Oh, look. I'm worried about the use of data to help improve self-driving trucks. Who safeguards the data? I agree with this is a shitty rollout and announcement. Yes, that's how I feel. Um, they're trying to say that no, it's not going to be you know, the data so much is going to not be utilized as of like us in particular. But what they're doing is, say I go like this and it says that I have a cell phone. When they watch the video, they're going to see it's not a cell phone. So they're teaching the camera to recognize the difference between your hand and a cell phone. When I worked for the post office, I used to actually key the addresses in, and I taught the computer how to read the addresses. So by doing that, we taught the computer how to read the addresses, and before you know it, they didn't need us keying anymore. That's true. So, that's what people are thinking, that the same thing's going to happen with trucks. But when it comes to trucks, you're talking somebody has to be there to fuel, right? Somebody's going to have to take care of tires and stuff like that. They're still going to have people. There's supposed to be people on these trucks as a safety guide, I think they called them. Meeting wasn't good. I had inward camera at my last company, only 40 trucks, and never once did I get warned for anything. See, that's something else. Cameras in companies with only 40 trucks. I know somebody that happens to be a YouTuber that has a few trucks, and he wants to put them on his truck. So, it's kind of the way it's going. I think it is a big push for the insurances, but I also think it's a big push for this infrastructure bill that they signed a few years ago, well, 2 years ago, or whatever it was, because last year they came out and said that if you wanted to take the younger people, the 18 to 20-year-olds, or 18 to 20, then they were going to require, the government was going to require that any of the training companies or any of the companies that hired the 18 through 20-year-olds were going to be required to have inward and outward facing cameras. And then supposedly, like a month ago, it came out and said, oh no, we don't need that now. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. The whole idea of let's compete against each other. I don't know. 20 miles per hour, not 15, but said after 20 miles per hour, you need to have the seatbelt on. Honestly, though, if you're getting backwards faster than 20 miles per hour, that's a concern on its own. Yeah, but see, um, but again, see, like the 20 miles per hour seatbelt thing, one day they said 15 miles per hour, and then another day they said 20. It was just like, okay, you're confusing us. And if you're going to give us information, make sure you're giving it straight and that we can understand it. Um, oh, Romaine was on a 34. He's in sleeper berth right now and will be driving in 5 hours. Why is no hippie a mod and you're not? Well, that's because I usually make the mods to be channels, and on this StreamYard, I'm lucky I got the StreamYard working, so I don't know how to do it from here. I'm not even sure I can. These roads and infrastructures, a lot of it so effed up. I could not see stop lines, lane lines, etc. Literally, how can an AI know that? That's true. The way that, and these cameras that we already have, the lane sensor cameras, often can't detect whether, the construction zone and that kind of thing. So, uh, I'm not with Prime. I'm with a tanker company. Okay, so this, I think, is part of the problem of the misinformation too. We have a lot of different companies that have all these cameras, and all the cameras are different. One of my subscribers actually called Netrodyne and found out they have two different models, and in each of those models, you can get all these different specifications and customizations, if you will. So the only way to know what specifications and customizations that Prime is adding, Prime has to tell us. So, um, tape on the camera. Well, guess what? If you put tape on the camera, it's supposed to actually give you a seatbelt violation, because we have the orange seatbelts. So it's looking for the difference in the color, And if you block that colored seatbelt in any way, it's going to assume that you don't have a seatbelt on. So that's what I'm being told by people that are on the that already have these cameras. Wrap aluminum foil around it to block the signal. I don't think that's weird. Okay, so it's weird that you have PC without asking. The entire fleet of Prime has not been removed from PC. They're doing it slowly in a process. So some people have it, some people don't. And then you actually have to message your dispatcher and say, I want to use PC. Is this legal? So then they turn around and say, yeah, it's legal. Go message logs. Message logs. So they'll open it up. And it's like, oh my God, it goes back to the kindergarten thing. But sometimes I really think that all that, who's the blame for it? It's the drivers. I know people, trainers that aren't here anymore, by the way. I know a trainer, there were two that don't work here anymore, that were driving on PC to make deliveries and would get a 34 that way while they were training. How's that right? It's not right. Okay. We have people on YouTube that are doing illegal things in the truck and then telling everybody about it and thinking nobody's going to see it. Okay. We had somebody else that was fall down drunk, made Prime look really bad as far as I'm concerned, and then goes and tells the story on YouTube. He's not here anymore. So, like, at some point you have to actually say this is not acceptable and we're going to terminate you. And I don't think enough of that is going on, but I also don't want to be one of those people that they just say, okay, that's it, you're fired because you did one thing, you know. Hold on, there we go. I guess the biggest thing I have is the lack of trust in drivers when we are literally responsible for sometimes millions of dollars of merchandise. The real issue is hiring and training standards. I agree. I totally agree. I think that they need to revamp the training department. I think that there needs to be a better curriculum. Um, I think trainers should be evaluated more. I think the students should be evaluated more when they come back to upgrade. Um, but I also see a lot of new people coming in, like I said before, with unrealistic expectations. I had a student that refused to use a public restroom. How are you going to be in trucking? How are you going to be in trucking? And then she wound up peeing into this like jug thing that I had, and she put it behind my seat, and then the urine leaked all over the thing. I thought she threw the whole thing out, and she didn't. And it leaked all over my inverter. Now, I was on a company truck, so I didn't have to pay anything, but if I was a lease trainer, that would be like $650 because I had the upgraded inverter. So, I had another student that broke my glass plate, the shelf in my refrigerator. It's my refrigerator. She didn't even bother to warn me that the glass was broken. So when I went to open the thing, all glass came flying out. And I was like, I could have been injured. I mean, I'm glad she wasn't injured, but I could have been injured. Data equals money. Prime Inc. should give drivers a percentage of what they're receiving for the data that will be used to train AI. That's not being talked about. Yeah, well, it's quite possible. But I mean, look at the AI that we already see on the internet. How many news stories that you see that aren't even written properly? They use the wrong words. They spell the words wrong. You know, sometimes they don't even make sense. It is so easy to see a video or a blog article or something that was AI generated. And the way that they do it with the gotcha titles and stuff, it'll say like, even new recipe. You only need these two ingredients. You have to scroll all the way down. It's just a way to make more money because they're getting more ad revenue. Loss says, I love trucking, but it seems like the BS never ends. Yep. Then we got the front camera is always on. Yes, it is. The recordings go back 2 hours regardless of if you triggered or not. Wrong. Not at Prime. Our recordings go back 4 days. And that was something else that I thought was confusing because originally it made it sound like they were going to have a snippet. It was going to be sent to, it was only going to record in the matter of the event. So, okay, the event goes on. And I was under the impression, maybe it was just me, maybe I heard this from somebody else, but I thought it was going to be like an old cassette tape like we used to have where it just rewound and it filmed over top. But apparently it's storing 4 days worth of video. So they can go back and pinpoint a date and time and pull that up, but they're not receiving any kind of live feed at the time. And one question I really have is about the whole drowsy driving thing, because this drowsy driving, these alerts are going back to your normal fleet manager, which works days. So if I'm driving at night and I'm drowsy driving and it's alerting me and it sends the alert to the fleet manager, how is that alert going to help me right now on this load? It's not. So the only thing that's going to happen is the fleet manager is going to come in the next day and say, oh, I knew you were tired last night. Next time, get a nap. Well, thanks. Like, I needed to know that. Yeah, I was tired because you people didn't schedule me the right way, or the customer got me out so late that I didn't have enough time, or something of that nature, you know? Or how about this? People just keep waking me up. Message it on the Qualcomm or something like that. Inside camera is off when the truck is off based on last Friday's meeting, right? But then a different time, she said the inside camera was off. Uh, I want to say it didn't shut off for like 3 minutes or 10 minutes or something after you turned it off. And then another time, I'm pretty sure she said that it was off if you were stopped. And this goes back to so you could idle and it would be off. And so it's really confusing. I just want the facts. Like, I'm so done with trying to like decipher. I feel like I wrote a book about the Zodiac killer, and I swear to God, the Zodiac killer and his encryption and everything was less complicated, like, than what they're doing. Like, I could actually go and read Egyptian hieroglyphics easier than I can dissect what they're trying to tell me right now. Of course, maybe it's just the attitude that I'm in. Yeah, we saw that one. Data is always sold. Okay. As a tech person, they are explaining the blur wrong. They say it's pixel level. It's really software blur, then record it afterwards. If it was pixel based, just turn off the pixels. It's software blur. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she's the IT lady and she's the head. I don't even know what kind of education she has or anything, but it'd be interesting. It only takes one hacker to figure out how to get into everything, and then before you know it, all these cameras will be gone because people will be suing the camera company. Inward facing cameras should be a vision of privacy. This is your house, your driving area. Here's the problem, caveman. It's not. Okay. People were trying to tell me in the chat that that's true. I was going back looking for law cases and everything. No. Federal law and even a lot of state laws, Missouri state law doesn't have anything against this. The only thing that they're required to do is make sure they tell you. Right. But the thing is, though, they also are supposed to tell you if there's audio recording, and they are still denying that there's any audio recording. So if later it turns out that there is audio recording, that's going to be a bigger problem than drivers being ticked off. You know, 10 count. How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Mwah. Yeah, I'm gonna get these cameras and I'm gonna do a really thorough video about it. And guess what? I have a video out gonna come out next week, and it's just like me and my brother driving around South Jersey talking about what it was like living there, and just a little bit about how Jersey's different. And I have your hometown in there. Hello, joining late. Hi, Lenny. Thank you for stopping in. Sitting through thunderstorms and high winds in South Virginia. I drove through some nasty thunderstorms earlier in Indiana. Will you get dinged if your left foot is up on the door sill? Yes, if you have your foot all the way up on the dash or on the door, yeah, I'm sure you're going to get dinged, sweetie. I'm sure. You know. Joshua Jones, good evening. Did you upgrade yet? I thought you were coming in. Uh, did you get a truck yet? Let me know. It should ding you if you wear flip-flops or Crocs. There you go. Taco truck lover's gonna love that one. He loves his Crocs. All right. This is a retirement job for me. Hopefully by the time I get a camera, I will be here. I will be retired for good. Yeah, you know, it's kind of how I feel too. And one thing that I think is really funny though, a lot of these people that are complaining about the cameras are the same ones that are walking around with the camera in their face all the time. And it's just like, wow, if you're so against cameras, then maybe you should put your phone down, you know. Much love to all of you legends as well. I'm working and reading for 14 to 16 hours a day. So it shows me like the time difference shows that I never sleep. Trucking with T-Bone. Hi, sweetie. How you doing? Will you have access for cool dash cam YouTube videos? No, but I'm putting up my own cam that does outside and inside so that I can actually show everybody how this thing responds, what it's dinging me for. Uh, they say that you can't download the video that it's going to send to the phone app. Um, one issue that one of my students told me about was that it wasn't telling him what he was dinged for. It was just saying alert sent or something like that. So he wouldn't even know what he did until his fleet manager called him. So these are bugs in the systems that I think that they're going to have to work through, and that's their plan with this first 300 people. Right. Somebody just said the Bill of Rights applies to the government, not private companies. Absolutely. And people get that mixed up all the time. Marietta, thank you so much. You're getting a camera next week. Well, so am I. And you came in a little late, so yes, I'm going to do a full videos about it, explaining and everything, and I'm going to do the geotab that we're getting. If we touch our phone, does it ding us immediately? Is there a certain time frame? From what I understand, you can touch your phone, it's not an issue. Okay, but you can't have the phone like in your hand up here. You can't have your eyes down for more than a certain number of seconds. Now, different people are telling me different things as far as how it's going to ding you. One person said that it lets you just look at the phone, say, for 4 or 5 seconds, and if you don't look up, then it dings you. But from what I thought Prime was saying was that it was going to say distracted driving, and then it gave you a chance to correct it, and then it wouldn't ding you. So this goes back to I'm just doing the research myself. I'm so done with all this crap and listening to all this he said, she said kind of stuff. No 18 to 20-year-olds want it to be a trucker. They shut down that program for lack of interest. Okay, well, good. I didn't think it was the program they shut down. I thought it was just the requirement for the cameras because they announced that last month. I thought, and they said that there were 114 companies or something that applied to train for the cameras. Shape World. If you guys don't know Shape World, make sure you go send her some love. Go subscribe. She does lives all the time. She's a female driver, and I think she started Swift. She was a trainer. She went a couple different places. She owned her own truck. She's out there grinding, and she could give you perspectives on a lot of different aspects of trucking. 10 count says it's great being a company driver with all these deadhead miles. They all count for us. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we even get paid for our deadhead miles going home that people don't talk about, And those deadhead miles boost our fuel bonus. So you get a lot of deadhead miles in a week. Next thing you know, you get a $200, $300 fuel bonus, which is great. Hans says, question for you, Kiersey, but then didn't bother to tell me what his question was. If backing, putting truck in spot or the dock or around shipper, on lot not wearing a seatbelt, hope the seatbelt is 20 miles per hour. When backing for window, hang out the window to back. Supposedly, it's not going to ding you for seatbelts if you're moving less than 20 miles per hour. It's not supposed to ding you for seatbelt if you're backing up at all. It's not going to know if you have the door open. It's just not really supposed to be doing any of that. But I'm going to do it all, and I'm going to do it all on camera so you guys can see. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to this is really important. So make sure you share this around to people and stuff. I'm going to put a community post out, and I'm going to I want you to put all your questions so that I can go back and answer those questions and find it on the camera. I think that would be really good. I wonder if you were wearing a safety orange shirt, if it would still be able to detect the seatbelt. That would be interesting. And guess what? I will do it. There you go. That's something. Make sure that you put it down on the community post. I'll send one out, and then, and I'll try it and see what happens. Let's see. Yes, exactly. You signed the contract and your company properly. How's that lawsuit against Prime for not paying student drivers, essentially using them as free labor? Oh my gosh. You know what? There are so many lawsuits all the time against all these different companies, and some of them are just ridiculous. I mean, some of them, when you read the witness testimony and witness statements and stuff, and you see what they're claiming is going on trucks, you're sitting there shaking your head going, nah, it's not the way it is. It's just like a lot of us were just watching a video that's only been out for the past couple days where this guy made a lot of accusations, and one of them had to do with trainers being forced to keep TNTs on the truck that were going to go company, because he claimed that he thought that Prime was getting them to pay for the driver longer so that they didn't go on a company truck where Prime would be paying for them. Here's the problem with that logic. The problem with that logic is there was a big upheaval of fleet managers on the company side within the last year. So what happened was we had 16 company fleet managers. That happened like at the height of COVID. We had a lot more. When I first started, we had 40% of Prime were company drivers. Now we're down to 10%. So the fleet managers, their fleets were being reduced, so they consolidated them. But what happened was, like, some of us had 2 and 3 fleet managers in a matter of like a few months. DJ that was in here, he had 2 different fleet managers like in 1 week. The guy called him up on Monday and said, hey, I'm your new fleet manager. It's going to be good to work with you, blah, blah, blah. And then like a week later, it turned into, hey, I'm leaving. I have to go to the lease side too. So all these people were coming in and going lease, and the economy was bad. And Prime was expecting, they were trying to hold out as long as possible to not consolidate, because they thought when people came in due to the bad economy, people were going to go company instead of lease. But that's not what happened. So before you know it, like, it's so crazy to me that people even think that it's a good idea to go lease right away. You haven't even driven the truck by yourself. You haven't even turned the key on by yourself, but you think you're going to learn how to manage your time, learn to back, run the truck, navigate through the country, and learn how to run a trucking business in an industry you don't know anything about, just what you learned in the past few months or a couple weeks or whatever. To me, that's insane. But, you know, people do it all the time. I'm doing well, Shape World, listening to Kiersey while reading the charts for tomorrow. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate you. Oh, come on. Oh my gosh. There we go. Okay. Will the drivers have access to film or SIM card for review? There is no recording of this. What it is it's going to be sent to a phone app. So, yes, you are going to get a copy of whatever video it created. So, say you get dinged for not wearing the seatbelt. It's actually going to send it to your phone so that you can see it. But supposedly, there's no way to record it. You can't screenshot it. You can't screen record it. It's not going to be anywhere. The only place it's going to be is that Prime's going to be able to review it, and it's going to get sent to your fleet manager. But then 4 days ago, up to 4 days prior, they're going to be able to go back and pinpoint select times. And they said they liked that idea because, like, some trucks were you're parked, let's say, and somebody hits you in the middle of the night. You wake up and you see there's damage to your truck, they can go back and go look for that. Hans, be nice, please. Okay, Carl says wow, but I don't know what he's saying wow to. Not gonna lie, I've squatted a poo many times on the side of the road. Well, thanks for sharing. Were you a responsible pooer? Did you take your little pooper scooper and some trash bags and scoop it on up? Have I looked at the generations we're hiring now? I've been a trainer here for like 6.5, 7 years. Yeah, almost 7 years. So yes, I know all different ages of, and guess what? It's not just a young kid thing either. I've had 60-year-old students that didn't know how to drive. That was one thing that shocked me. I thought I was teaching people how to drive a truck, and I wound up having to teach people how to just drive. I couldn't believe it. I have drivers, brand new drivers, walk up and ask me stuff. Should have been trained TNT, like trip sheet, what macros. Yeah. Students have to drive to make money and that's it. You know what though? Part of that is their own responsibility too. So if they're not asking their trainer, they see the trainer doing that and they don't ask, you know, it's kind of on them at that point. And I do appreciate and respect the fact that they came and asked you about it. But at some point, we all have to take responsibility for ourselves too. If they didn't get proper training, they should have been telling Prime, hey, I'm not getting proper training. So, you know, 4 days, holy cow, definitely looking into pin drivers with that much data. Okay. I don't know what a pin driver is because I'm not a techie. They have never been held accountable for anything. So how are they going to hire better from what pool of people? This is true, but some people have had it very easy and they don't understand. Like Lyle No Hippie was talking earlier, and he was saying that life experience, um, will change your perspective on things. And yes, people are young and they had a different upbringing. I grew up in a house that didn't have hot water some of the times, and we would boil water on the stove. We usually didn't have heat. So, it was kerosene lamps, and my mother would take plastic and staple it all around the living room. So we had heat in the living room, and Then in the summertime, it was like, 100 degrees and 100% humidity in New Jersey, and the heat rose up to the top floor. We didn't have central air. We lived in a house that was 100 years old. So guess what happened? We had one air conditioner, window air conditioner, the whole house. And so it felt like we were living in the living room the entire time, all year round. Just sucked. There is definitely a live feed. They just don't admit it. Well, uh, again, Sean, that's not what the that's not what we were told when somebody called Netrodyne. Okay. There's different cameras, there's different options they could get. And one thing that I think is the problem is because Prime didn't disseminate this information fast enough to us, that everybody's getting information from different companies. So just because this company, has this type of camera, this, and it does that, but these cameras are so customizable that we really don't know. And that's why I want to try this. I want to see what happens. The drowsy driving alert is going to make me wonder if people can play to that to get out of service failures by saying they weren't well rested. It's a safety issue to drive. Yeah, that you can act. My thing with the drowsy thing is, okay, why not just fix the reasons of why we're drowsy? If you're just going to you know, bring it up to us that, oh, well, you know, if you're just going to bring it up and say, oh, you were drowsy, next time get us, you know what? Have the customers get us out of the doors faster. Have the shippers get us out of the doors faster, or, so we don't have to rush to make that appointment. Or if the customer gets us out of the door too late, then change the appointment. That should be on them. It shouldn't be on us. People whine too much about cameras. Yeah, whine. They want you to be confused. Yeah, I think so too. But part of me thinks that they're confused. Honest to God, I think they're confused. I got fired from a pool company with these AI cameras. They have live feed, they just won't tell you. Um, I don't, at this point, I don't know, and even if they have live feed, at this point, I don't really care. Okay. If they have a live feed and I'm not doing anything, then how's that hurt me? If I am doing something, then that's getting recorded. So, live feed or not, what the hell difference does it make? You're on a live feed at the truck stop. You're at a live feed at the fuel island. You're at a live feed in Walmart. There are cameras all over the terminals and nobody ever notices. It's just not even considered anymore. So lease drivers have to have the cameras as well. I was considering come to Prime. Yes, even people that own their trucks, if you run under Prime's authority, yes, you have to have a camera. Now, something that I was considering, that I was wondering about is there are people on what they call Prime's A fleet where you run under your own authority. I don't know. Some people call it power only. Some will call it like something logistics side or whatever. I don't know. But they run under their own authority. But some of those people actually buy insurance through Prime, and it's supposed to be cheaper. So I think you're supposed to have a certain number of trucks, like 10 or 12 trucks minimum or something. But I'd be interested to know if they buy the insurance through Prime, will they be required to have those cameras? That's something I'd be interested to know. It's intentionally complicated design to be able to do what they want when they want. Fire drivers for whatever they feel like. Mega company equal mega loyalty. Drivers are numbers. Blah blah blah. Okay, let me explain this to you. In Missouri, they can fire you for any reason or no reason. It's an at-will state, so they don't need to go spend millions of dollars on cameras to come up with a reason to fire you. They could have fired me last week for the video that I posted. I didn't get fired. I got a call and I was like, oh, am I getting fired? Because guess what? There are some people that we're going to have a really tough time trying to find a job. I won't be one of them. I'll find a job. And if I was going to leave, yes, I'll find a job without these cameras. Uh, but again, before I overreact, before I take action, I want to see it. I want to see what it does. I don't want to go by people at other companies telling me what they think. I don't want to go by one person telling me what their camera did, because their camera might not be doing the same thing as somebody else's camera, because it's still in some weird testing phase and there's all these bugs that I keep hearing about. Don't think they won't be watching you. They will even get to you for not putting on the seatbelt while doing a double drop and hook. And yes, they can hear us as well. Okay, so the hearing you and the audio is part of a package. They have to pay for that. They are claiming they did not pay for that. If you actually go to the website for the manufacturer, if you actually call the manufacturer, you will find out that there are certain privacy packages that you can buy where the audio is not working. And what I said earlier is that this is not considered an invasion of privacy as long as they told you. So if it's discovered later that there is audio recording and they didn't tell us, they will be in big, huge trouble, lots of lawsuits like you've never seen before. And, it's not going to be good. So, mega carriers absolutely love inward, outward facing cameras because they more use as a training tool to harass the driver about driving when trying to avoid an accident. I really thought that they should use it as a training tool for people that need to be trained. If you're going to use this, then put it on. They have a list of, the most dangerous drivers, if you will, the ones that are most likely to cause an accident or have some kind of incident or something. So why not use it on them? Why not say on the training trucks, okay, here's your score as you started training, and you're not going to be permitted to upgrade until you get to a set score. And then supposedly your driving's going to be better and everything will be better, and then I won't have to do this. Next video from Kiersey will be titled, How Prime's Camera Got Me Fired. Okay, guess what? I'll get 15,000 views in 24 hours. Seriously, because apparently that's all anybody wants to hear anyway. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hans just gave me $50. Wow. Oh, has a student ever pulled your wig off while you were driving? No, but I will tell you what did happen while I was at a way station and my wig blew off and flew away from the wind, and this really nice guy went and chased it. How about that? Oh, I hope Hans is still in here because I didn't even see that. I'm sorry, Hans. Um, do they have 300 people yet? I don't believe so because I was at it, but I will know once I get the camera. I'm supposed to be scheduled to go into the terminal on Wednesday. So, no, you do not want me to have an OnlyFans account. Trust me. Brittany Richardson had cameras all over her truck. Yep. When your dispatchers call on phone, ask them what you're eating. They can tell you if they're honest. Okay. Our dispatchers have over 100 drivers. Okay. I've sat there before the cameras watching them work all day. I've actually sat with my fleet manager for hours, and that's how I learned so much about trucking, about Prime, about driving. I learned so much. So, I don't really think they're going to have much time for any of this, to be honest with you. I'm really trying to figure out how they think the fleet managers are going to run the fleet, but yet still deal with all these infractions. You're still talking about cameras. Your guys are worse than the news talking about Trump every day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get off your soapbox. Well, okay. Put a sock in it. Nope. Sorry. And please go down and comment 3 or 4 times to say it over and over because it'll help my live feed. When you were a mother trucker, you gave a lot of misinformation about leasing, so not sure if I trust your review. No, I didn't actually give misinformation about leasing. The stuff that I learned about leasing, what do you think that I gave misinformation? Because I have, settlements that I post settlements on YouTube of lease ops. I have the contracts. A lot of these people don't even read their contracts and they don't know. Okay. I went to the head of the claims department and found out that the cargo insurance only covers accidents. So if you're a lease and you slam on your brakes and you ruin that load by, hard brake event, you're responsible for it. But nobody talks about that. There's a $10,000 negligence fee. Do you know how I know about that? Because we had stupid drivers that kept hitting the Econo Lodge. So not only did they pay their $2,000 deductible, but then they had to pay the $10,000 negligence fee. Okay. What's funny is lease guys give wrong information about company drivers every day, but they don't get attacked over it. Nobody even questions it. You just believe it. So what exactly did I give wrong on Mother Trucker? That I told them that we pretty much make about the same amount of money? Because go back and watch the person he had on after me. He said, "Oh yeah, I made $140,000 or something." He says, "No, after expenses." Well, yeah, I made 70. Okay. Well, at the time, that's what we were making as company drivers. And on that video, I actually had taken like 2.5 months off that year because I had 2 different surgeries, you know. Um, so I'd love for you want to email me truckingalongfun@gmail.com. It's going across the bottom of the screen. I would love to find out what I said wrong. Please. Seriously. And I'm not being nasty. If I really did, then please tell me because you know, I often find that people never read their contract. There's a lot of things that they don't know. Um, there's a lot of fees that they pay for that they don't even know about. I've had people say to me they're not making any money and they didn't even realize. I look at their settlements and I'm like, you're getting your truck washed every week. You're paying for it. No, Prime pays for it. No, they don't. No, they don't. You know, so a lot of people just don't even know. They say they don't dig you for not wearing the seatbelt until they do. AI will find out. Well, you know what? When are you not wearing your seatbelt? If legally, you don't have to wear a seatbelt on private property. So driving around the terminal, you don't have to wear a seatbelt. At the customer, you don't have to wear a seatbelt. So if they try to reprimand you for that, it's like you can sit there and argue you weren't breaking the law. So if that's their argument that you're breaking the law, you're not if you're on private property. And there goes Hans. Thank you so much, Hans. I appreciate that. Sounds like Prime is phasing out all company drivers. Yeah, you know what? That's something that I'm not crazy about. Um, on the flatbed side, and nobody's talking about this, on the flatbed side, if you go to upgrade, you're a TNT and you go to upgrade, you're not permitted to go onto a company truck. So, go onto a company truck and be assigned as a company driver on the flatbed side unless there's an opening now. They're limiting the number of company drivers on flatbed. So then your choice is, and this is anybody that came in after May 6th, I think it was. So if you were in orientation after May 6th, this applies to you. So then your choice is go lease, stay on the trainer's truck. You can upgrade and then stay on the trainer's truck. But at that point, you're negotiating your pay with that trainer. Or maybe possibly find a company driver who's willing to team with you. It's because they're chasing money bags. They heard about it on YouTube. Yeah, well, a lot of the people that talk about money on YouTube, they've never shown pay stubs and settlements like I have. And there's one YouTuber that got up here and said the first month they made $10,000 to bank. Well, that was a lie because I was on the phone with the person the whole first month. And then after 7 months, this person went on YouTube and said, I cleared $130,000 to the bank. Well, that was a lie because it turned out it was less than $68,000. But this goes back to who are you going to listen to and what kind of, proof are you going to ask for? You get a lot of dings, but Hans, it's not dinging you for backing up and not wearing your seatbelt. It's not doing that. I wouldn't recommend being a fleece driver right out of training. Saying this with 13 years experience. You know, to me, it doesn't really matter if somebody goes lease or not, but I hate when people don't research, don't read their contracts. And here's something that people don't talk about. They change the contract so often. So you go to upgrade and you're listening to your trainer and his contract says something different from yours. Nobody talks about that. So you could be getting bad advice from somebody who's really trying to help you. And you know, and it's not helping you. Big Orange Pumpkin, hi, thank you so much for stopping by. Let's hear some love advice. I don't have any, Marty. I'm sorry. I don't have any love advice. I keep bringing, the past couple of relationships I had to kick them to the curb. It just didn't work. Hans, next time will be 24th respect, or you will learn the lesson. Hans. Okay, he was talking to Hans. This seems like a damage control video for Prime. Any driver can just talk. Just ask another driver with their experience in inward facing cameras. Okay, but then you're not getting actual evidence. Okay, you can tell me that Tolga punched you in the face, but if you don't have proof, am I going to believe you? Okay, but now with this video, I can show you and know I'm giving a real review. And honest to God, you know what I'm doing it for? Not to help Prime. I'm doing it for the views because everybody wants to see about these cameras. And I'm sick and tired of having people hear from drivers and it be wrong. And like I said before, some cameras are doing one thing and somebody else's camera is doing something else. So even if you ask a driver that has the camera, you might not be getting the information that what it's really supposed to be doing. So this way I can record what it's doing. I can go back and ask safety, is this what it's supposed to do? Because this isn't doing it the right way. And then hopefully we can fix them, you know. So what you threatening me because you got a wrench? Who's threatening Hans? Don't threaten Hans. He's my buddy. I've heard it all. They don't record this and that, and they don't ding for not wearing seatbelts, but you all will soon find out that they do. Okay, but there's two people in the chat that already said they're not dinging for seatbelts. So this goes back to people that just want to believe what they want to believe. You're already got preconceived notions. You don't want to sit here and wait for the actual video you can watch. And it's like people like you, nobody's going to change your mind. And I don't want to change your mind. I don't really give a damn, to be honest with you. It's just a matter of I'd rather have real data, real information, real evidence. I've always done that on this channel. I've always posted settlements. I've always posted other videos to prove something. So that's just who I am, you know. I respect most drivers, even Swift. Well, thanks, Hans. That's great. you know. And Big Orange Pumpkin, after tomorrow I'll get a load. Yes, live feed, they record everything. Okay. Please Abyss, don't ever work for a company that has a camera. Okay. Prime is pretty much self-insured, but it's not about lowering insurance rates. Okay. This is one of the most confusing statements that people don't seem to understand. Mostly self-insured, what does that mean? That means for the really high payouts, there is an underwriter, there is an insurance company. And in the last couple of years, there have been really big payouts, including that Warner settlement that freaked all the mega carriers out, freaked all the insurance companies out, the $150 million. So what happens every time there's a lawsuit? There's some kind of flipped crazy reaction and everybody goes nuts. This is all part of that. So people that say no, they're self-insured, they're not really. Okay. When it comes to those millions of dollars, they're not. They're underwritten. They're insured, self-insured for a certain amount, and then that's it. After that, the insurance company pays. So, you know, I don't need it if I passed it. One thing that was weird was my student said there was like an octagonal a sign over on a farm or something, and the camera thought it was a, what do you call it? So Prime doesn't have insurance cards in their name, Abyss. Actually, our insurance cards doesn't they don't say New Prime Inc. on them. There is a company that's listed on them. Right, they're self-insured to a certain amount. Exactly. So who's insuring them past that certain amount? An insurance company, which is going to play into this because the insurance company isn't paying the $1,000 bumper to get replaced. The insurance company is paying the $100 million that they're getting sued for, or the $5 million when somebody was in an accident or whatever. That's, so it really that just sounds like a really bad argument to me. So they are insured. Yes, of course they're insured. I thought Prime has had inward facing cameras. Nope, nope, nope. We don't even have outward facing cameras. For a short amount of time when I first got here, like there were 200 of the worst drivers of Prime that had outward facing cameras only. Um, so then they were taken out. I don't know why. But then there are some people here that were freaking out because they thought this lane sensor camera was an outward camera. So you get all these people that come up with all kinds of misinformation. And it's just like, what the heck? I've drove for a non-CDL company that had driver-facing cameras. They used them as training purposes, and until you kept doing the same thing. Yeah, if they use them for training purposes, and then just said, okay, you're good enough now, goodbye. But whatever. Insurance in most accidents usually paid out by the carrier before the insurance kicks in. Right. And okay, let's put it this way. If an insurance company said to Prime, we are no longer going to underwrite you. No insurance company in the country would underwrite them. Guess what would happen? We wouldn't have a Prime anymore because you have to have a certain amount of coverage. Like if they have a $2 million amount before insurance kicks in. Okay, whatever that amount is, there's still an insurance company, and the insurance company is still going to make the rules. It's just like, okay, do you know in the state of New Jersey, we were losing gynecologists, OBGYNs, because there was so much malpractice fraud, malpractice suits. So they couldn't get insured. Like if you had a certain number of complaints against you or something, they wouldn't insure them. So the state of New Jersey lost so many different doctors, and they were going across the Philly, across the bridge, because like they couldn't get insured. It's more to do with safety on the cameras, as they will have someone doing nothing but watching you. You will see. All right. You know what? If they want to do that, so what? I'll wave to them. I'll blow kisses to them. Like I said, we're watched all the time. I worked at the post office for 17 years where they had directional microphones from the ceiling. They listened to us. They had cameras on us all the time. There are cameras on you all the time wherever you're walking. The only place that you're not being watched is right inside your house. I mean, there's a guy right outside right now walking past the front of my truck who's probably looking at me. I could see him, so I'm sure he could see me. I didn't pull my curtain closed, you know. You're gonna doing a good job. Love the way you hold it all together. You know what? I've had so much crazy things happen in my life that a camera is not going to make me freak out and have to put me on some kind of like, you know, Cymbalta or Wellbutrin or whatever the heck kind of, you know, depression meds that they're pushing. Kiersey has a lot of good information on our channel, better than most. Thank you. I love you. I pay for my own truck washes. Logic Neo, hey Neo, how you doing? So Neo, you like all this like techie stuff. What do you think about all these inward and outward cameras and stuff? And for those of you who don't know, okay, Neo always says the same thing. I'm new here because he's Neo. My company pays for trailer washouts, but I like to wash my whole truck at least once a month. Well, as a prime driver, you get to wash your truck twice a month, and they wash the trailers inside and out. Okay, hold on, Hans. Let me see if I can. No, it won't. It won't let me give you a wrench in here. Kiersey and Neo would make a cute couple. Well, thanks. Slime Pack, how you doing? Good to see you in here. Thank you for stopping by. For those of you who don't know Slime Pack, and I'm sure you do, because she's got a really big channel out there, and she's got lots of cameras all over her truck. So I'm going to be kind of doing the same thing as she is. She was asked to take the cameras, and the last time I saw, she said no. So Slime Pack, tell me down below whether or not you're is that still true? I decided that I was going to take the camera and then record it so everybody could see exactly what's going on. It's just the whole misinformation thing's just getting out of control. So I was like, I'll take the hit. New to the channel, not trying to make any more man, but I came from a company with the cameras. Company told us it was for coaching, not discipline, until they start firing drivers. You know what, Mike? I got news for you. Prime's history, and I've been here for almost 9 years. They've never really been like that. And I said earlier that they don't need a reason to fire you. They don't need a reason to fire you. This state, they can fire you for any reason or no reason. So why would they bother going through all these cameras? And the backlash right now is really bad. It's really bad. I think they picked a really bad time to do this. Um, if they would have put them in when freight was good, I think people would have been like, oh, okay, well, you know what? I'm still making a heck of a lot of money, so they can pay me whatever. You know, they pay me enough to have the cameras. Now it's just that the freight is so bad, people aren't making money. I don't think they handled the PR portion very well. Um, but it also goes back to every company has a different type of camera. Every company has different options that they can they can subscribe to on these cameras and the manufacturer and stuff. So I personally am one of those people that I'd rather wait and see, and Mike, don't ever feel bad or like nervous or apprehensive about saying what you want in this chat, because I don't block people. I'm not going to block people until they start getting nasty with, the other people in the group and stuff like that. Just drive naked? Yeah, okay. I work for Prime. I have 6 lights out on the semi truck. What should I do? Hey Nick, how you doing today? People freaking out about these cameras is hilarious. Just like when ELD started becoming a thing, all trucks will have cameras eventually. And you know what? So something that's really interesting about what he just said. When ELDs came about, all the owner ops that were running on paper logs and they were running illegally flipped out, and they were saying, well, this is going to cost me my business. I'm going to lose everything. And all they were doing was admitting that they were driving illegally. Okay. So if that's the case, you shouldn't be doing it anyway. When it comes to these cameras, you're driving illegally, so it's going to ping you. And what most people are concerned about, I really don't believe anybody gives a damn about the seatbelt. Does anybody care whether or not they're going to ding you for a seatbelt? Because I don't. You know why I don't? Because I always wear my seatbelt. One of the reasons why I always wear my seatbelt is that when I was a teenager, my sister was involved in a really bad car accident. The girl that was in the car that didn't have a seatbelt went flying 70 feet away from the car, and my sister rolled over. And the only reason she lived was because she had that seatbelt on. I myself rolled my car back in May. Some of you may know that. A deer jumped in front of an oncoming car. The car swerved towards me. I went off on the shoulder of the road, on the side of the road, and I saw grass, and it was dark. It was night. I thought it was flat. It wasn't. It went down into a ditch. I hit something and I rolled back over. Now I had my seatbelt on. So all I got was a scratch right here and a little bruise on my wrist and good to go. You know, stop signs, okay. The rolling stop, okay. I know a lot of people are going to get dinged for that. But if you're running red lights, that's dangerous. You should be held accountable for that. You know, one thing that everybody's afraid of is the phone. Are you going to get dinged for touching it? Are you going to get dinged for holding it? Yes, you're going to get dinged for holding it because it's illegal to hold it. So, what exactly is it that everybody's afraid of? Like, it's kind of like, to this point, it's just like, if you're doing your job, then it shouldn't be bad. Actually, if you have smart devices in your home, you're being watched and recorded. Yeah, I mean, our technology today is so crazy that my washer and dryer actually will report back to Amazon to tell them that I'm out of detergent. It will automatically send me new detergent. Now, I didn't set that up, but, Taco Truck Lover says to Nick, weren't you freaking out May 10th in the live? That live feed was kind of funny because, like, they were throwing tomatoes and everything. I think some people were just, like, jumping on the bandwagon in that, where they just wanted to, lash out. Neo, in and out camera sucks, but insurance companies are trying to save company money by using them. Hans doesn't want a wrench. You just being part of it for sure. I don't drive for Prime, but still watch the safety meetings for some. Oh, he's just being part of it, not me. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think you worked here anymore. But you did. Okay, Flower, welcome here. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen you in here before, so welcome to the channel. If anybody ever has questions or anything for me, there's my email down below. I'm still not taking one for the team. Yeah, I'm more interested in for me, it's more curiosity. I want to see what it really is, you know. I'm just so sick and tired of everybody's assumption when they really don't know what's going on, you know. Yes, you have the right to work and they have the right to fire you. Yeah. There's cameras everywhere on the roads and the highways. There's cameras at the toll booths. There's cameras checking our speed, you know, all kinds of things. Ain't got blocked yet. Hans is still harassing people. If you're driving, you don't have a right to privacy. And when you're stopped, just cover it up. Yeah, pretty much that's how I feel. Um, I feel truck drivers should make millions like basketball players. Woohoo! Man, I like you. I like you so much. But you know, everybody thinks that they're doing the best. Everybody, you know, even when it comes to trainers, have you ever heard a trainer say, "Oh, I'm a really crappy trainer"? No, you're never going to hear somebody say, "I'm a really crappy driver" or "I'm a dangerous driver." You know, everybody's going to say they're the best. Um, Nurses should make millions too. Yeah. I Velcro my phone to the dash. There you go. Guess what? I used to do that in one of my old Freightliners and I really liked it. Supposedly, where this camera is, it's pointed so you can't see below the dash. So if your phone is there being Velcroed, they're not going to be able to tell what you're looking at. They're just going to see how long you're looking at it. So I hope Prime doesn't turn Welcome into Schneider the way they watch you 24/7. What, Schneider has these cameras too? Schneider is a company that I couldn't work for though, okay? With Schneider, they don't let you do 8-2 splits. You're not allowed to talk on the phone. Me not talking, like I've already been on for almost 2 hours now. Could you guys imagine me not having the ability to talk? Like, give me a break. I have inward facing camera and my own outward facing camera, Garmin camera. I'm talking about seatbelt use while dropping and hooking. We were all told the same thing, but hey, what do I know? Okay, but it's not this company. Okay, you're making assumptions that Prime's going to do the same thing as your company. We don't know that until they do it. Okay, and so, you know, what am I supposed to do? Start screaming at them saying, "You're not going to do that with my seatbelt"? When it happens, then I'll make a big deal about it. And they say we can't screen record, we can't take screenshots of that infraction. Guess what? I'll take my dash cam, my own personal dash cam down, or I'll take my video camera and I'll say, "Look at this. I'm not supposed to be held liable and responsible for backing up. But since I'm going to get the camera on Wednesday, we will see what they do." You know, do I wear my seatbelt in the shower? Ha ha ha. Okay. Walmart is super strict with what their drivers do. It's insane. You know, I have a friend that just went to Walmart and what he had to do to get the job was crazy. Like, I mean, I know everybody wants Walmart and everything, but honest to God, training here, I made that much money and I had so much freedom here. People think as a company driver you have no freedom, and it's not true. The honest to God truth is, I always felt like I had more freedom because I wasn't stuck with a truck. Like, if I had a truck that was constantly breaking down, I would just turn it in and say, "Take this sucker back. I don't want it." But you get into a lease and you're stuck with a truck and you might not be able to get out of it. And if you do get out of it, what are you doing? You're losing your lease completion bonus. which isn't a bonus. It's your own money that you're putting into it. So, you know, so anyway, Walmart, my friend has been driving for 8 years. He went to Walmart. Walmart's inspection, the vehicle inspection, was so much more than any DOT exam I ever saw. I forget how many points it was, but like each state has a certain number of points on the DOT exam. And so Walmart had 5 things that were an automatic fail. And so you could miss a couple other things here and there, but you couldn't miss one of the 5. And there was somebody that did the entire pre-trip flawlessly, and then he got to the last thing, and it was one of the 5, and he got dinged. He got an automatic fail. And then when it came to the backing, they had this obstacle course that was built by somebody who's like been driving for 20 something years, and he purposely set the obstacle course up so that you had to get out and look 3 times. Or yeah, I think it was 3 times, right? So if you didn't get out and look 3 times, then you were going to hit something no matter what. So that was really interesting, and he was telling me that there were a lot of people that were getting sent home and failing because of that. But so many people wind up getting sent home that the people that did, Walmart actually said, look, we only wind up actually passing a certain percentage of people, but for the people we thought were really good, we want them to come back and try again. So they get like 60 days to come back, you know. Would have thought they made the company drivers be the first batch to volunteer. No, I don't think they did. I actually have 2 company drivers in this feed that they weren't asked to volunteer. They did it themselves. So uh, you know, they wanted it, but I've seen a lot of lease ops that were doing it. They asked the driver advisory board. I'm not on the driver advisory board anymore, so they didn't ask me. Um, but they did ask me back in like September or October. They wanted me to test different APUs. So they wanted me to keep switching trucks like every 2 months. They're testing a lot of different equipment that sometimes they don't talk about. They don't tell us until they like narrow it down to something. And something somebody said to me earlier was, well, they're hiding stuff from me. And I'm like, well, Prime always tested everything around 3-year mark. When it came to the ELDs, when it came to the automatics, when it came to the Volvos, it was always a 3-year mark before they made a decision. So they've been testing this stuff for 10 months. And if you listen to the meeting, he said that he wanted them in the trucks within a year. He said it might take 22 months. So what does that? That's the 3 years of their testing phase, you know. Dessert, I don't even think you have anything worth my trying the taste. How about that? You know, if that's the best you could come up with, mm, I'll pass. The strip club next to TA in Wheeling, West Virginia is decent. Well, guess what? You know what? That's something I think is going to happen. I was thinking that they were going to start seeing things that drivers do, like we all do, that is just part of, like, they're saying, oh, well, it's normal. Well, okay. Well, if I'm driving down the road and my contacts are starting to get, dry, what's going to happen? I'm going to reach for my bottle of solution. I'm going to have to put the contacts in. There's just certain things, or you're changing out your glasses for your sunglasses and things like that. There's going to be things that they're going to see, and they're going to be like, "Oh, wow, like maybe I didn't want to know," you know? You want to see the cat? Oh, you got that info from a friend. Look. Uh-huh. We know where you hang out now. Uh, you want to see the cat? Well, I don't even know where my cat is. I don't even know where my cat is. All right. So you guys tell me, like, what's your biggest concern here? Like when it comes to the cameras? Is it a matter of, you know, is it the matter of the way they told us, or is it the matter of, you know, the idea of just the privacy thing? Is it you just don't like AI in general? You know, look, here we go. Nick and Hans are staying on the strip clubs. My company has a terminal in Missoula. There's a couple of clubs there that are decent. Yeah, well, you know what? You have to get off the truck from time to time. You got to stretch your legs, right? All right. You know what? I've been on for almost 2 hours. It's getting hot in this truck. I wanted to make some videos. Gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. Uh, I run the same type of camera that Prime's gonna use. I haven't had any issues. Okay, but that Netrodyne has two different models. So, do you know what your model is and what the features are of it? I mean, is it because they can buy packages where it's like outward only or both inward and outward. They can buy it without the AI. They can buy it with, different things they can buy it without the filters. Ours is bought with the filters. The package they're getting has the filters for the privacy thing. The privacy courts in Canada have ruled it's an invasion of privacy to have inward facing cameras. Right, but we're in the United States. And I'm pretty sure that it was you that said it in the comments before. So the laws of Canada don't apply here. And this has not gone to a US court. Now, it did go to the National Labor Relations Board out in California. And that was really about a produce company where a driver was trying to unionize. He was trying to build the union at that trucking company. So uh, he was supposedly taking a 30-minute break or something. He was off duty. If I remember correctly, he covered the camera while he was off duty. And he did that because he said he was conducting union business by calling people and things like that, finding information, doing research. And he got fired for covering the camera while he was on off duty. The National Labor Relations Board sided with him. Okay. But uh, he got fired. If I remember correct, it's been a while since I looked at this, but he got fired, and he said that he thought he was getting fired for covering the camera and not allowing them to see the union stuff, right? But the judge in the case that heard the case said that that wasn't actually true. The company can't provide it evidence of why he should have been fired or something like that. It had nothing to do with the union. It had nothing to do with covering the camera or something like that. It was something completely different. He was just using that as an argument. I know it blurs everything but the driver, that's all I know. Yeah, so Chris says just do your job and don't worry about the cameras. Did you make weekly at Prime as a company driver? Trying to decide between coming to Prime as a company driver or driving a mixed ready truck. Uh, I'm going to be honest with you. If I tell you what I made, it's not really fair because I've been here for 9 years. I get a bunch of referrals and I have a bunch of training money that, gets applied. But most of my former company drivers, students, they're between like 1,300 and 1,500 gross a week. Now you're going to say to me, is that take home? No, that's not take home to bank. And I will never give you numbers take home to bank. You want to know why? Why is because everybody has different taxes. Different states have income, some income tax, some states don't. You know, somebody like me, like I have $250 a week going to my 401k and $250 a week going into my to a high yield savings account. So I'm putting $500 a week into savings. A lot of people can't do that. Um, so and you're also talking about the difference between really good freight and really bad freight, you know, like right, and something that people get confused about when it comes to the company pay. People see that 50 cents a mile and they think that's what company drivers make, and that's not. There's not one driver here that only makes 50 cents a mile. And the reason being is that we get guaranteed bonuses every week. We get a wellness bonus just for not using our sick leave. We get paid sick leave. Okay. The fuel bonus can be anywhere from like, 3 to 8 cents a mile. I was usually average would be like 5. So really it was like $100 to $200 to $100 to $250, something like that a week, just in fuel bonus. On the team truck, I was doing like $350 a week in fuel bonus, something like that. Um, so if I told you what I make, it's not fair, and as company drivers, we get raises twice a year. That's something else that people don't ever talk about. They don't ever discuss. We get vacation twice. We get vacation based on how many miles we run, and then we get uh, a pay increase based on how many miles we run. So there's certain steps. They called it bands. That's like I say tiers, but they say bands, you know. I hope Prime gives. Oh, by the way, you know what? If you want to know company driver pay, send me an email, truckingalongfun@gmail.com. I have some videos where I post it, settle pay stubs from company drivers, but you can send it to me and I will email it back. Uh, Thank you. The concrete truck pays $1,000 a week, but I'm home every day. Yeah, and see, you know what? At one point, I was home every day too, and I was making a lot of money. And it's like, wow, like, you know, now I'm making less money and I'm out on the road, but that opportunity that I was making so much money, it's not there anymore. I'm still making a whole heck of a lot of money though. And I'm running for a mini fleet. So if anybody's interested in running for a mini fleet, anybody's like, well, can't decide between company and lease, I say go with a mini fleet. I really don't understand why people don't like company. I was treated so good by the company fleet managers. Um, and often I think that if you prove yourself on the company side, like they want experienced teams. So like if you go lease after a year of company and you're a team, from my observation, okay, my friends, what I saw was a lot of them got the FedEx loads and the high val loads more often than people who went straight lease team. And I think it's because they're actually building their reputation. I personally have no issue with the cameras. They actually do more good than not having one. Have saved my ass several times from others backing into me. Well, that's true, man. And they did show that in the safety meeting. They showed an example of that. Um, I've never had a camera on the truck. I just bought a dash cam not that long ago for the YouTube actually, so I could show scenes. But I'm a really defensive driver. So people say to me, "Well, I need the dash cam because somebody cut me off." I don't allow people to cut me off. It's just not who I am. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Just generally as a solo, they're between like 1,300 and 1,500. But this, you know, it, it's a matter of how good you manage your time. It's a matter of how you run. I know company drivers, I know lease ops that really do bare minimum. They hang out at the terminals more than they actually drive. They live on their trucks and they don't have any bills, and sometimes they just don't want to work. I know people like that. So, but and something else that we have here at Prime are lightweight trucks. Now, people think that all company drivers get lightweight trucks. That's not true. They think that all company drivers will be put in a used truck and they don't get new trucks. That's not true. There's so many lies and myths that they're told about company drivers that it's just like, yo, what the heck? Okay, I want to join Prime, but you said you can't be company on the and run flatbed. I did not say you can't run company. You can't be company and run flatbed. What I said is you have to wait until there's a position open. So if you go through training and at the end of your training there is an available spot on the company fleet, you can go. If there's not a spot, then you can't go. It's not that you just can't go, it's that there has to be a spot available. So that's what it is. Okay. So unless your teams, I want to get my CDL through Prime and be company flatbed. Well, again, I never said you definitely have to team. It's whether or not there's a spot available. Right now there's only two company flatbed fleet managers. So many people went lease that they kept narrowing down and consolidating the company fleet. So now there's only two company fleet managers. So unless they have an influx of a bunch of people trying to come in to go flatbed on the company side, they're not going to go open up a new fleet manager, like open up a new fleet. So, like, if you go through training and somebody goes lease or somebody quits and there's all of a sudden there's 3 spots, then yes, you can go in. I don't know if they're going to put you on a waiting list or something. So ask your recruiter about it and get, you know, definite update you know, information, updated true information. Coffee money, thank you. I appreciate you, sweetie. Yeah, and that was something that another video they were talking about that, oh, they weren't letting company upgrade and that kind of thing, but I'm now driving for a mini fleet, and if anybody's interested in coming to a mini fleet, we don't have any flatbed side though. The owners of the fleet want to stay on the reefer because that's what they run. But one amazing thing about my fleet is that they paid for all their trucks in cash, the majority of the trucks at least. So they're not pushing their drivers for better revenue. They're not telling their drivers, oh, you can't run, you can't like you can't take home time and things like that. They're not doing that. So, what about the hopper trailers? You know what? I really don't know much about them. They put them as part of the tanker division here, and was told that they were pretty much staying in the Indianapolis area, but then other people told me that they saw them in Mississippi. Yeah. So, Matthew, if you have any questions that I can answer for you later, make sure you hit me up at my email, truckingalongfun@gmail.com, and I'll answer anything I can. I appreciate that. If it opens up or something, then maybe I can hit you up or something. But now it has been 2 hours, so I am going to get off here. Make sure you look for my video that's going to be coming out, and I'm going to have, like I said, I'm going to have another funny video about like things that students say, so that should be fun to make. Thank you so much, Hans, again for that $60. I really appreciate you. I do. I appreciate every single one of you. Have a great day. Be safe. Enjoy the Memorial holiday, and appreciate what people have done for us, appreciate those soldiers that have passed, appreciate all the airmen and the sailors and everybody that's made sure that we have, such a great country here today and that we have the freedoms. And yes, it may seem like this technology is giving up our freedom right now, but before I actually say that and before I make a decision for my future, I actually want to take the time to go see what it is. I'm not going to just be reactive. Okay. So have a great day. Be safe. And I hope to see you out here trucking along. Bye, guys. Come on. There we go.